Hello, Christopher Michaud, Director of Public Health for the town of Dartmouth. We are here with you again to talk about the proposed changes to Title V by the Mass Department of Environmental Protection. You've heard a lot from us over the last couple months, and you're going to hear a little bit from us in January. It's important that we remain engaged in this process for the remainder of January. Today, what we'd like to talk to you about is some information about the Mass Department of Environmental Protection as we're moving into these regulations. On June 1st of 2022, the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection's commissioner at that time, Martin Suberg, wrote to municipal officials expressing concern because the department needed to develop regulations in a timely manner to address nitrogen pollution that's going on in our estuaries. So this was on June 1st. And Commissioner Suberg is writing that there's concern about this problem as though the department just discovered it. I would now like you to listen to a video. This video is of a former DEP employee, also of a nitrogen-sensitive area subcommittee member, and also of a Title V stakeholder group advisory member.
So I actually give the administration a lot of credit. I was at DEP for 20-odd years, and I was at DEP the last time we did Title V regulation revisions, this code that Scott mentioned that went into effect in '95. It's been 28 years since the code has been upgraded. And the code, as I said earlier, has created the situation that we're trying to restore and recover from now. And everybody's known that the code was inadequate from the day it was put in place.
So have you just heard this employee, former employee of Mass DEP and quasi-state official now, is admitting that Mass DEP knew of this problem in 1995. So Commissioner Suberg's letter is completely illegitimate that he is saying that we have to do this in a timely manner. DEP knew about it and did nothing. Nothing at all. So his letter goes on to write about the importance of this, and we've talked to hundreds of people, and we haven't heard one person say that we want a worse environment. The disagreement here is how we get there. Nowhere in here does he mention anything else compelling him, with the exception being the environment, real estate values, tourism, shellfishing, and that is a concern for everyone. As I mentioned in an earlier presentation, that we've been looking elsewhere for documents to do a comprehensive analysis on Mass DEP's involvement in these proposed regulations. So we discovered something at the Barnstable County Superior Court, dated May 27th, 2022, some 4 days before Commissioner Suberg's letter. On page 3 of the document that we found at the Barnstable County Superior Court, you'll see here on the screen, it provides a timeline that has matched up with the department's actions, including Commissioner Suberg's June 1st letter. Nowhere in his June 1st letter does he mention anywhere of this lawsuit. Nowhere does he mention that, yeah, the department has entered into an agreement to suspend the lawsuit, provided we hold to this timeline. He misled municipal officials. He misled the public. So as we said earlier in the presentation before this, the public's been very concerned about DEP's transparency. Some people have told us that they've lost trust in DEP with the handling of this. And yet, Commissioner Suberg's letter and this lawsuit and the content within the documents present a further troubling situation. And we now understand that Commissioner Suberg has resigned from his position as of Friday. January 6th, 2023. We hope that the new commissioner or acting commissioner hears this message. It is important that Mass DEP is trusted by the constituents in southeastern Mass, or at least for us here in Dartmouth, because I go back to the mission statement that we talked about in the earlier presentation. And on the fourth line, it states, "An equity for all people of the Commonwealth, provide meaningful, inclusive opportunities for people to participate in agency decisions that affect their lives." So it's clear by the timeline in these regulations, as you'll see on this screen, once again, that this is a fast track. This is a fast track to promulgation. It's a check mark. When DEP met with the town of Dartmouth on August 24th, that was the real first substantive look into this that we had. And we were told there's going to be a 5-year mandate where everybody in these impaired watersheds have to put their systems in, which don't exist yet, or the watershed permit. And then on October 28th, when the draft regulations were released by Mass DEP, the content was the same, but with more steps in the process. So again, this becomes very troubling because it shows that Mass DEP is not even adhering to their own mission statement. They're providing us with the minimal opportunity provided by law for the public hearing, for due process. So with that being said, I'd just like you to listen to 2 more clips. And this is a DEP official at an informational session. It's Mary Beth Chubb once again. And here she talks about what the watershed permit means for the people.
The exemption from the requirement for the individual owner to have to install enhanced treatment is if the community obtains a watershed permit that covers an area that would be subject to this new NSA regulation.
Nowhere in there did she say that residents may be required to put in a best available nitrogen reducing technology if the town applies for a permit. And now you will hear that even a watershed permit may require you to install one of these best available nitrogen reducing technologies.
The use of IA technologies can also be part of a watershed permit. It can be part of the overall plan.
Now she said that part of the watershed strategy may require the installation of these systems. The difference is going to be is that the towns are going to be making the decisions as to who has to remove it and who doesn't. So don't be misled that a watershed permit is going to save you from the expenses of putting in one of these best available nitrogen reducing technologies. That will not be known until your community applies for the permit and starts running through these convoluted strategies to figure out where we're going to get the nitrogen from. And in some cases, when sewering is impractical because of cost, there will be people that have to incur this expense. I believe once again points to an elusive DEP with the public. They have created a subcommittee that is entirely lopsided of public participation. They created a subcommittee that was completely embedded with special interest and absent that of local. So despite what was said in the earlier statement by one of the NSA subcommittee members, that your concerns and your opportunity to speak is noise, this is your one opportunity to make comments. I cannot encourage you enough to participate in the coming public hearings and public comment period. Do not rely on others. Do not forget. Put a reminder on your phone. Send yourself a text, send yourself an email. You have to participate. Because even if you're in a community that where you live is on sewer, if the town selects the watershed permit, that is a requirement on the town. And in our next segment, we will be discussing some of those implications as it relates to the watershed permit. So DEP will be conducting an informational session, again, for those that listened to our first segment, on 1/17 at 6 p.m., and that's hybrid. On January 18th, they'll hold another one at 6 p.m., and that's going to be hybrid and in person. That'll be at UMass Dartmouth at the Marketplace Conference Center. And we're going to try to work with the university to see if we can get some signs to guide people through the confusing campus and from the parking lots or parking lot to the center. There are public hearings scheduled for later in January. They're both hybrid on January 24th and 25th. You have to register for them at the links on the screen. They're both at 6 p.m. And on January 30th, you have that last day to submit your written comments. And you can do that by going to the email as shown on the screen, dep.talks@mass.gov. Make sure in the subject line that you put Title V and watershed permit. Be sure to include your name and address. Now, some people say, what do I write? Well, if you've listened to us talk about this, you've listened to some of the people talk about their concerns. You need to let them know what is particular to you. You don't have to write a long document. You just have to write something that is concerning to you. Even if it is the distrust that DEP has built with you by their mishandling of this. Thank you.